AI is and how quickly it's moving, it's created this culture of kind of FOMO in the nonprofit community where like we don't want to miss out. Like this is not the tech revolution that we can sit like idle by. There's a fundamental problem in sort of the way nonprofits raise funds, specifically around digital fundraising. And so at Fundraise, we've built technology to really help organizations rethink the way that they reach donors online and through other digital channels, and to make that experience familiar as buying something on Amazon or buying something off of your favorite e-commerce site. One of the promising aspects of AI for nonprofits is to really solve for what I think is a systemic problem that leads to the death of many nonprofits. And that's their donor retention rate, right? It's like simple, straightforward. If you ask a given CEO of a nonprofit, hey, what's your retention rate? They'll probably, we have good retention. But if you actually peel back the onion, most are sitting at like below 60%. And it's really hard to build a sustainable business if you're losing that many donors and that much revenue.
Hi, welcome to the Global Missional AI podcast, where faith meets technology and where we explore how innovation can serve the kingdom of God. My name is Joshua Seal, and I serve as the Director of Global Missional AI. What if I told you the greatest threat to your nonprofit mission isn't the lack of passion and funding, but a silent crisis happening in your donor database? Most nonprofit CEOs will tell you that they have good retention, but when you peel back the onion, the reality is sobering. Most organizations are losing 40% or more of their donors every single year. It's a systemic problem that quietly kills missions, and it's one that traditional approaches have not been able to solve. Today's guest is Justin Wheeler, founder and CEO of Fundraise, a technology platform serving nonprofits globally with donor management, giving platforms, and analytics. Before building Fundraise, Justin spent 13 years in the trenches of nonprofit work, co-founding organizations like Invisible Children and Liberty in North Korea. It was those experiences, the frustrations of inadequate tools, and the hunger for better solutions that inspired him to create purpose-built technology for the nonprofit sector. What strikes me about Justin's approach is he's not just building another CRM or donation platform. He's tackling the existential crisis of donor retention with AI-powered intelligence that identifies at-risk donors before they churn and surfaces hidden opportunities for deeper engagement. But he's doing it with guardrails, insisting that data insights must serve authentic relationship building, not replace it. As Justin puts it, AI does not eliminate the need for fundraisers, but build genuine connections, and it tells them where to focus their relational energy for maximum kingdom impact. Before we begin, a quick word from our partner, Glue. Glue is the technology platform for the faith ecosystem, providing values-aligned AI and comprehensive solutions for ministry leaders. Visit gloo.com to find out more. Also, the Global Missional AI Summit 2026 is happening April 7th through the 9th in Silicon Valley, California. This is the largest gatherings of Christians working at the intersection of faith and artificial intelligence. Registration is now open, and we are now offering exclusive early bird pricing. Would encourage you to go to missional.ai to find out more and to register now. Now let's dive in with Justin Wheeler.
So my name is Justin Wheeler. I am the founder and CEO of a technology company called Fundraise. We serve nonprofit organizations across the globe through our platform called Fundraise, which focuses in three core modules. First is our donor management and CRM, our giving platform, and our analytics engine. Prior to starting Fundraise, I spent 13 years in the nonprofit sector, started two nonprofit organizations, one called Invisible Children and one called Liberty in North Korea. And it was really through my experience running and building these organizations that inspired me to start Fundraise, because there wasn't purpose-built technology for the nonprofit industry in a way that I felt was accessible to the broader nonprofit market. And so it was kind of, the challenges that I experienced as a nonprofit fundraiser an executive that led me to start Fundraise, because I believe that technology and do believe that technology has a big role to play in the advancements of every nonprofit mission.
So Justin, thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Love to hear what you have to share with the Missional AI community about how AI can accelerate the work of nonprofits and particularly fundraising initiatives.
Yeah. Great question. There's a fundamental problem in sort of the way nonprofits raise funds, specifically around digital fundraising. And we haven't evolved sort of with the 21st century. You saw sort of the evolution of the way e-commerce came into and how powerful e-commerce has been for so many brands. This hasn't happened to the fullest extent for nonprofits. And so at Fundraise, we've built technology to really help organizations rethink the way that they reach donors online and through other digital channels, and to make that experience familiar as buying something on Amazon or buying something off of your favorite e-commerce site. Because that's what donors gravitate to, is familiarity. And so a lot of our technology has been around creating those types of experiences that organizations can offer to their existing and hopefully new donors.
Yeah. And how does the technology enable that in ways that traditional approaches were not able to?
So, if you think about some of the sort of legacy, call it legacy technology in the space, first, most of it wasn't purpose-built, meaning it wasn't built for nonprofits, right? And there's a missing context to sort of the type of information you may or may not need in processing a transaction, for example. Secondly, most organizations, don't have technical capabilities on their team. It's usually like the intern or the marketing person or like the fundraiser that's like, hey, we got to optimize our website. But they don't really know how to actually do that. And so our tool sets require no code and allow you to very easily put a giving experience on your website without needing to write a line of code. You can customize that experience all through a very user-friendly sort of experience. And so it allows organizations to operate as if they have web developers from a giving experience, as an example. And so that's sort of like one way.
On the analytics level, AI can be used to identify patterns that would be really difficult for people to detect on their own. Are you seeing opportunities to use AI to identify those potential opportunities for fundraising that you look at and you go, oh, without AI, this simply wouldn't be possible otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the area that I'm most excited about in terms of where we're developing tools for organizations. So we have, before we started building AI solutions, we have what we call Fundraise Intelligence, which is an analytics engine to help organizations process all the data that they're sitting on. With the benefit of AI, we're allowed to take that to the next level. And so to your specific question, we do have a feature called AI Insights that basically surfaces opportunities or risk to the individual donors that are at risk of churning because of their engagement score. Their affinity has changed over time, and so they're not as connected to the organization. And we're able to get this type of information and surface that to the organization. And then also opportunities. Yeah, here are donors that are giving at a certain level, but they actually have the ability to 2, 3, 4x this gift size. And here's how to sort of go about cultivating that relationship. All this is powered through our Fundraise Intelligence platform, driven through AI Insights.
Wow, that's so good. Are there any particular guardrails that become important for you to think about when using powerful technology that can personalize down to that level for people when they're thinking about what do they give to, how much do they give?
Yeah.
How do you work through that
process? Yeah. Just because one is all of that sort of data, whether or not the organization has it, is public data. And just because it's public doesn't mean it's ethical in terms of how you might use it, right? And so the guardrails that we think through and the guardrails we've built into the technology, one is, first off, is obviously opt-in, right? That is user opt-in to accessing this type of information, these types of insights. Second is training around how to then actually, once you do have the insights, how do you use it so that it's you're building trust, not eroding trust, right? So if I'm a donor to an organization someone comes to me and says, hey, like you gave $100, but you can give $10,000. Like, why aren't you giving $10,000? Like that's, I'm going to be like, that's a little off-putting, right? You're going to erode trust. But if you're a fundraiser that is responsible for raising X amount of dollars, and you have a relationship portfolio of 1,000 donors, it becomes really important to understand, well, where do you build relationships? Where do you spend time developing those relationships, authentic relationships? Just because you have the data doesn't mean the person's going to give. You still need to build relationships. And so the way that we think about it is, here are insights about particular donors in your file. You're the professional at building relationships, build those relationships, right? So that's the way we think about it.
That's cool. And nonprofit sector traditionally, or maybe generally speaking, has often been resistant to embrace new technologies at times. Have you seen the success that you're having in terms of being able to demonstrate how AI can be used to increase charitable giving and fundraising initiatives begin to reshape people's perceptions at the nonprofit level?
Yeah, I think, before the proliferation of AI, nonprofits historically had this problem of just status quo, right? And not taking too much risk on new technology, whether it's from a cost perspective or a bandwidth perspective. There's sort of kind of everything in between. Now, I think what's interesting about AI is and how quickly it's moving. It's created this culture of kind of FOMO in the nonprofit community, where we don't want to miss out. This is not the tech revolution that we can sit idle by. And I think part of the reason is because what the promise of AI, to an extent, is it for organizations who are strapped from a bandwidth perspective, it gives you more bandwidth. And so it's helping drive more curiosity, which we're seeing as really positive signals for nonprofits to be curious about how AI could advance their mission, increase their fundraising. And as a result, the products that we've built around this have definitely been very well received, and have been probably, when we look at the success of a new product that we launch, we look at sort of time to value and the adoption rate, how quickly are customers adopting this new product. Everything with AI has just been 3 or 4x better in terms of adoption than anything before that. And so we're definitely seeing sort of the aptitude or the appetite for consuming more AI products that will help organizations.
It's so good. You're at the frontier of intersection of AI and nonprofits at present. What do you see as the next frontier or evolution in terms of what you can see this technology could enable in the next wave for nonprofits?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit today, but I think, one of the promising aspects of AI for nonprofits is to really solve for what I think is a systemic problem that could, quite frankly, and does lead to the death of many nonprofits. And that's their donor retention rate, right? It's simple, straightforward. If you ask a given sort of CEO of a nonprofit, hey, what's your retention rate? They'll probably, we have good retention. But if you actually peel back the onion, most are sitting at below 60%. And it's really hard to build a sustainable business if you're losing that many donors and that much revenue. And at the heart sort of this retention crisis is really just a lack of understanding your donors from many different angles, from their engagement with your organization, to their giving history, to what a donor sort of needs to stay engaged. AI allows you at scale to personalize interactions, to personalize communication, engagement, and also to get a strong understanding of where your donor's at. We were talking about earlier, these around data insights around the risks and opportunities of each person in your donor file. So I do think that one of the biggest problems AI has the ability to solve sooner than later is just this retention rate that nonprofits have a challenge with, and I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Awesome. And just to finish, what would you encourage the broader missional AI community in terms of what you've uniquely learned in your context of how you've been able to leverage AI to accelerate fundraising, engage in humanitarian work that could be applied in other sectors of missional endeavor?
I think to borrow a quote from really like the godfather of AI, a man named Jensen Huang, he said, AI is not going to replace you. Someone that knows how to use AI will. And I think at the root of that, what that means is the landscape of business is changing. For-profit, nonprofit, whatever, whatever industry you want to kind of plug here. And in order to survive as a business, you really have to adapt sort of to this changing landscape. And to adapt, like, you need your team to also adapt. And so I think that that's something that is incredibly important, because although there are concerns and of course like challenges that we have to pay attention to with what AI brings, I do think that there's more upside than downside. And the more that we can lead our team through understanding that upside and really like leaning into that upside, I think we can make a better progress on those outcomes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely.